What is up, everybody? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the upgrades I've done to my bike front to back. So let's get started. Starting with the front of the bike, one thing that is overlooked is the headlights. Not necessarily the headlight itself, but the running lights have these white strips underneath the headlights. And what I did with those is I put a clear vinyl on them. And I believe the color that I chose is red-orange or orange-red, one or the others, because I wanted it to fit with these beautiful fluorescent orange rims that I have on this bike. So widely overlooked are those little LEDs on the bottom, and I think it looks spectacular. And when I'm riding, it kind of catches people's eyes, and they do notice them, and it just gives the bike that little bit of touch that it needs. Above that, I got the windscreen. Now, the windscreen is just a standard windscreen. I think that the bike really needs a windscreen. Without it, it almost looks a little incomplete, in my opinion. And I didn't really like those big ones that kind of tower over you. So this is perfectly right in the middle, gives it that nice little touch that it needs. And when I'm on the freeway, I do feel a big difference. And the difference is probably up to my shoulders. And if I do speed tuck, I'm able to get underneath that wind just fine. Next on the bike, I got the radiator cover. And the radiator cover is pretty unique because I customized it myself. I think that you should get a radiator cover. It is really exposed. Coming from a Super Sport, it was protected by the plastics, but on this one it is very exposed, especially for all naked bikes. So getting a radiator cover is well worth the investment. I think it's like 40 bucks. The link is going to be in the description for the one that I have. And I did get the silver one, but what I did is I outlined it with painter's tape, and I actually painted it. So as you can see, the outside is still silver, the MT-09 is silver, and then the MT-09 logo in the middle is silver, and everything else is blacked out. The silver was kind of a lot, I felt. So I think it gives it this really nice look to black out the inside of it, to kind of blend well with the bike, and it also gives me that protection I need just in case there is something that bounces up and hits the radiator and would otherwise kill the radiator. Next on the list is the dash itself. And if you'll notice, the dash that I have is now a black background with white lettering. And originally, what they do have is the white background with the black lettering. So I got some, it's almost like a negative for film, and it was a process to do this. And I'll put the link in the description to the company that I bought it from, because they cut it out for you, and I think it's only like 15 bucks, and it saves a lot of hassle for you. So it is a little bit laborious to get that on. You have to take apart the dash. You got to peel off this cover using like a heat gun. And then you got to adhere this negative to it. But it really transforms the bike and how I view the bike. And I just love it. I love the way it looks. Again, it blends well with the bike, and it's not over the top. They do have colors that you can get, red, yellow, orange, whatnot. I did get the red, but it was a little bit too much for my taste, so I took it out. And now I have just the black, and I love it, and I'm going to keep it this way. One of the big things that you can see probably being different on my bike through this video is the Woodcraft handlebars that I have. And I just love these, absolutely love them. The stock handlebars are cool, but these Woodcraft Clip-Ons really, again, transform the bike in a very positive way. And the real reason why I got these is because, again, I'm coming from a super sport and I wanted that sporty look. I wanted to be able to speed tuck, and these allow me to do that because those stock handlebars are, you know, an inch and a half above this, and I want to be able to speed tuck when I'm on the freeway and whatnot. So this allows me to do it. I do have a video on the Woodcraft handlebars and what it took for me to do it. It's not a simple project. It did take me a day to do. The biggest hassle with this is you need to cut your own holes into the handlebars itself, because the starter switch and this other gauge over here on the left has pegs in them, and the pegs need to fit inside the holes on the bar. So again, link is in the description. I do have a video on it that I will link as well on how I did that, but transforms the bike. And again, another reason why I did this is because I wanted to see and prove that these Woodcraft handlebars do work with a steering damper. And I do have, I believe it's the FXCNC steering damper, maybe about 75 bucks, but this bike really needs a steering damper, in my opinion. I used to get up to maybe 80, 90 on the freeway, and I would start feeling these wobbles. And I felt a little unsafe because of that. So I got this steering dampener, and it's excellent. I can get to about 130 now safely without that feeling of, you know, the wobbles from the wind or whatever it may be. So that video was basically, you know, putting on the Woodcraft handlebars and then seeing if this steering dampener is going to work with it, and it does. And the steering dampener is fantastic. I think there's like 20 settings on it. I am maybe at like 5 or 6. I just needed that little bit. That's all you need, is just that little bit, and it does wonders for your bike in terms of feeling and safety. So 100% would recommend doing that. And again, link is in the description to the exact one that I have. You can choose the color. Obviously mine's silver. The silver works very well with, you know, my silver and orange MT-09. Moving up on the bike, I have ASV levers, ASV racing levers. And I absolutely love these levers. They are a little bit pricey. Again, I'll put the link to where I got it in the description. They are pricey. If I had to guess, they were like 180, 220, somewhere in that area. But they're absolutely fantastic. And the reason I splurged on those is because these are what I'm touching every single time I ride the bike. I want them to feel nice. I want them to work well. So I got some really nice racing levers. I got the shorties, and they are just fantastic, and would recommend these if you have the budget to spend on them. But again, you know, they're pretty expensive. What I really liked about these is that if you get the C5 model, they have different colors called BioColor. And what I love about the BioColor is it's 2 different colors. And as you can see in the video, it's black, but also silver on the top. And the silver matches the bike. And black powder coated, it's almost like they shaved it off, and there's silver on the top. They're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. It does have these red accents for the adjusters, which does match, you know, the starter switch, but it's just that little bit of red that is excellent. I do have ProGrips. Again, these I put on in the Woodcraft video. They'll be linked in the description. I believe they're like 20, 25 bucks. So they're not the cheapest grips, but again, I'm touching them every day. I wanted something that was, you know, decent at what it does, and I've stuck with ProGrips for quite a while, and I've never had problems with them. I replace them maybe once every 2 years. They last quite a bit of time, given how much I ride. But would 100% recommend the ProGrips. They have different colors. These obviously black and silver, where like the middle is silver and then the outside is black. So very cool. Again, matches very well with the bike that I have and the color scheme of the bike, and just loving them. Next on the list are these tank pads. I don't know if you can see, but I do have these tank pads, and again, link in the description. When it comes to tank pads, you want to spend the extra. I believe this was like 70, 80 bucks. You want to spend the extra on the good tank pads. And the reason for that is because when they're baking in the sun, that glue, I've heard, tends to really get sticky and wear down. And if you take it off your bike, it actually leaves some filthy residue on it. So when it comes to tank pads, you want to spend a little bit extra and get the tank pads that work and don't come off and have some proper glue to them. And these tech spec tank pads are excellent. Link's going to be in the description to the exact ones that I have. I actually only put on half of it. So the other half actually comes around the bike, and you can see it'll come around, but I didn't put those on yet. What I have is right where my knees are. And I just wanted to put those on just once to see how it is. And I've been really liking it just with where my knees hit. And they've been doing an excellent job. So, super happy with them. 100% would recommend these ones specifically. I've done a lot of research on them. Don't get the cheap ones. If you're going to get tank grips, get these. Next on the list, I want to talk about the QuickShifter. I do have a QuickShifter on this bike. It is excellent, but there's a lot of stigma to it that I need to address when it comes to this. QuickShifters do not make your bike automatic, and that's what people are expecting. Oh, it makes your bike automatic. Yes, in a way it does, but that's not what it's made for. They're made for racing. One of the big things that I've heard is that as you're shifting from first to second, there's a big jerk. Yes, there's a big jerk when you're shifting from first to second, but it's only when you're in low gears. Same with second to third. People are using these as automatic shifters, and it's like your bike isn't designed to do that with these quick shifters. From first to second, there's absolutely no jerk when you're hitting, 11, 12,000 RPMs when it's meant to be used. Same with second gear. When I'm hitting 11,000 RPMs and I hit that, there's nothing. It's fucking fantastic. I use the levers 90% of the time. I like how the bike sounds when you pull the lever, switch gears and change. There's no reason to really use them when you're on the streets and you're hovering between 4,000 to 6,000 RPMs consistently. There's really no reason to use them. That being said, it's fantastic to have. If you have the extra funds, would recommend getting the QuickShifter. It is a blast to use on the freeway. There is absolutely zero downtime between shifting. When you are blasting up a ramp, when you're blasting down the freeway, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instantly. And they are just so fun to use. Bike sounds incredible as you're ramping through these gears with the QuickShifter. Would recommend, but just know it doesn't make your bike perfectly automatic. That's not what they're for. So don't get it for that purpose. Next on the list is the exhaust. The beautiful M4 exhaust that I have sounds fantastic. It isn't your most expensive. It isn't the cheapest. I think we're hovering around $450 for this exhaust, for the slip-on anyways, and I do have the slip-on. Now, what I did with the exhaust is I ceramic coated the pipes itself. And the reason I did that is because I wanted blacked out pipes. They look so good blacked out. I guess my reasoning behind that was if I fuck up the powder or the ceramic coating, M4 does have a full exhaust system that is black. So if I fucked it up, I would just, bite the bullet and buy the full system. But I didn't. It is ceramic coated black. It looks fantastic. It hasn't faded. It's perfect. But again, something that you need to take time on and do it right. I did it over the winter, so I had all the time in the world to do it. I had to sand it down, obviously take it off. I had to sand it down, and then I had to prime it. And I did maybe 2-3 coats of primer on it. Really got it perfect. And then I did 2 or 3 coats of the black ceramic coating. And again, took my time on it, and it's perfect. I've been riding quite a bit with it. There is no fading. There's no scratches. No signs of wear on it from the heat. It has been fantastic so far. It looks great, and I just love how it looks on the bike. Next on the list, and I believe this is the last, is the rear seat cowl that I have on this bike. And I absolutely love how this transformed the bike and the look of the bike. What I got is the pyramid plastic seat cowl. There really is no other option, in my opinion. You have a few different ones, but I've read reviews on how they the coloring is off or it doesn't quite fit. The pyramid plastics have the absolute best one, and it shows. The best part about this is the orange that it has. It is the exact color orange, and that's a complaint that I've heard with the other one, is the orange color is off. This is the exact color orange that is on the rest of the bike. It's almost like it came with the bike. Looks stunning. Again, this bike needed it. It almost seemed like it was missing some things, and some could look at it as a bad thing, but really this bike just gives you a lot of opportunity to make it your own. From the windscreen to, you know, the levers and how the tank looks, all the way to the seat cowl, you can make it look exactly how you want with all the different custom upgrades you can do to it. Throw in some, you know, paint and do your own little painting for some of these, and it's, you know, make the bike your own. And I really have done that with this, and I'm so happy as to where I'm at with this bike and how it looks. Moving further back down the bike, I've got the SW-MOTECH frame sliders. And I guess, you know, stupid reasoning behind this is when I was filling out insurance, you know, there's insurance for damages that you do to your bike. So it was quite expensive, and I guess the thought process behind it was, well, why don't I just protect my bike with some sick frame sliders? And, you know, I'll just use that money, and that's what I did. So, SW-MOTECH frame sliders, they are a little expensive. I'm not exactly sure how much they were, but again, I'll link it down in the description. They're excellent. They really are. I know one of the problems with the MT-09s and frame sliders that you have to realize is that we do have this fairing on the side, and some of these frame sliders you have to actually cut a space in the fairing because it does overlap the bolts that you need to use. So these ones I chose specifically for 2 reasons. One, you don't have to cut the fairings, and that's, you know, huge. Why the fuck would anybody want to do that to their bike? And the second reason is because they look sick. I mean, there's some really great frame sliders out there, but these were really great. These actually have orange in the logo, and it's kind of like hidden in between, but still noticeable. And it, again, matches all the orange that I put on the bike already. So, super happy with these. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Last but not least on this bike, it is equipped with a PowerCommander. Again, if you have the money, would 100% recommend getting a PowerCommander. I did have the ECU flashed, and there's a noticeable difference with having the PowerCommander from without. I believe the guy said I'm getting 7-8 extra horsepower through it. Fuel consumption is a lot better. I do have the app on my computer and I'm able to plug into it. I'm able to change any of the settings that I want, but so far it's just been perfect where it is, and 100% recommend grabbing a PowerCommander if you can. And that concludes everything that I've done to my bike so far. I'm really happy where it is. I don't think there's much more that I would do to the bike. It was a long winter. You know, I sat all winter just staring at this bike and wanting to make it my own, and I really feel that this is exactly how I want the bike. This is how I want it to perform. It looks fantastic, and just super stoked for this upcoming summer to ride. Again, I hope I gave you some ideas. I hope I gave you some tips on things you can do to upgrade your MT-09 or your FXCNC. There's so much shit you can do. Would love if you gave me a like, follow. I'm going to be creating more motorcycle content all summer. I do have a podcast as well for my company, Alpha Digital Pro. We got a podcast called Becoming Alpha, where we interview business owners, community leaders, people that are just doing shit. They are filmed locally. I'm hoping to expand, find some more people that are like-minded, doing some cool shit. And I want to help you guys, you know, grow your channel through content, since that's, you know, what my company is good at doing, is creating and distributing content. So again, give me a follow, subscribe, and hope to keep making content and keep building out this channel for you guys. Have a good one.